Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying with Jim Misiura. Today we're going to tie a very simple yet very effective Perdigon fly. This is going to be an olive Perdigon. The hook that I have in the vise is a Lively Legs lip splitter. 310J, size 14, is a barbless jig hook, and 2 extra strong. These are really nice black nickel, sharp as could be jig hooks. As soon as you get the fish in the net, the hook falls right out. The bead that I'm going to use, I don't have any olive slotted beads, so I'm just going to use a regular bead. And this is also from Lively Legs, a Downing Dirty tungsten bead, 3mm, and it's for a size 12-14. Even though this is not a slotted jig or a slotted bead, we're going to tie it on there so that most of it is going to be on the top side of the hook, which will then turn the fly over when it's in the water, so the jig hook rides up. The thread that I'm going to use, this is just Danville thread, and this is 8/0, and this is olive. So we're going to start the thread behind the bead. We're going to put a good amount of thread right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of hold that bead into place there. You can see it's pushed forward. We're going to build up that thread right there on the bottom side of the hook, but right at that edge of that bead. Then I'm going to bring my thread back, but as I go I'm going to kind of build this up a little bit to kind of make a little bit of a taper to try to get rid of that bulky spot on the front. We're going to stop that thread just slightly, maybe 1 mil past the barb. And we're going to put on the tail. And the tail, you kind of have a couple options. You can use the Coq de Leon, the nice stiff long fibers. There's another option. I have a this is a shaving brush, and this is just a cheap shaving brush, and guess what? These are all microfibets. And I took a marker and I changed the colors of them a little bit. But you gotta make sure you check different markers, because you could rub the color right off them pretty easily. And another option is you can use a barred flank feather, which is nice. Maybe I'll just go ahead and use a barred flank feather. You're not going to see very much of this tail. That's the whole length of the body, so the tail is going to be really small. Maybe the length of the body. Yeah, we tie that in. See, that tail is very small there. And I'm going to bring that thread up forward, and that makes it easy to break off that tail. I just want to try to keep the body, try to keep it level at least. If you don't want to go use up all your thread trying to make a taper, doesn't really matter much to the fish. It's going to be moving and they're not going to really see that taper very well. Now for the body, I'm going to use an olive wire, and this is UTC olive. You can see, and it's about it's not medium, it's about a fine, but it's not an extra fine. You have to actually helicopter it to break it off. Extra fine, you just snap it off like you would with a thread. I'm going to take that wire and I'm going to put it in the, basically put it in the hole in the top of the bead. And that eliminates one of the sharp points on the wire from breaking your thread. I'm going to take that wire and use that wire at the 45-degree angle to keep your thread wraps nice and tight. Watch the point of the hook. Couple more wraps. There we go. Now we can move that thread back up forward. And now we're going to take our wire. We're going to wrap it. That first wrap is a little bit more difficult, first couple, because of moving the wire around the point of the hook. But as you're going, you want to bring your wire slightly towards the rear and it will slide right off the previous wrap. I exaggerated there a couple of times, but and you'll get nice tight wire wraps. And of course, if you over wrap, just go ahead and undo it. We have a nice ribbing on this Perdigon. We're not going to use any UV cure on this. This, just the way it is going to be nice, and it's going to make it sink fast. No water resistance, no real water resistance on the with that ribbing. And then when we get to the top, it really depends on you. You could go ahead and wrap this up there pretty high. And I'm going to go ahead and tie this off. And then, like I said, you can't just go ahead and pull it. You have to actually helicopter it off. See, I actually came back slightly on the wire. Then we're going to take just a touch of Antron dubbing. This is a little more than I wanted, so I'm going to stretch that out and make it nice and thin noodle. Antron is synthetic, so it can stretch very, very good. But this fly has been pretty effective on the West Branch of the Delaware lately. You can still see the bead, but I'm actually covering over that opening. We got that pretty good now. But if you had a slotted one on there, you might have a bit of an opening anyway. We're going to go ahead and give this a couple of whip finish wraps. Oh, I felt that pull in there nice. You could actually see it pulled the dubbing away. Not a big deal at all. Like I said, when you're fishing it and it's bouncing along the bottom, the fish isn't going to go ahead and refuse because of that little bit of a space there. You can take your head cement and put a drop of head cement right on the top. And that's the way it will ride in the water. So, hope that you enjoyed this video. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Please visit my sponsors. Leave comments, questions, suggestions. And most of all, thank you very much for watching my videos.